So in this box, we have the brand new subframe for the 335i. It is time to start actually wrenching on this thing, getting the old broken stuff off of it and getting the new stuff on. So the car does need a front subframe. I thought about pulling one from the salvage yard. However, these are like 240 bucks on eBay. So here is our brand new used subframe. Like I said, I paid like 250 bucks for it all in all. Free shipping, which is honestly fantastic. So we have this, and we also have some other parts laying around here. And we also have, I think it came with the motor mounts as well. If we want to reuse the ones that we have or use the new ones, we can do that. Whenever we do the subframe, we have to support the engine from up above as well. So what people do is they get this Harbor Freight engine support bar. That pretty much what it does is it like sits like right here, I believe, and it goes across and it actually holds the motor up from above. So first step, we're gonna go ahead and unbox this, get it on the engine, and kind of see what we're working with. So I think to support the motor where it attaches to the actual like hoist, I think they use the tow hooks that come in this car. We need to grab that out of the trunk, that way we can attach it to the motor. Which I don't remember where. Andy, do you remember where they said? Is it in here? Probably there. I found it. It's in the battery compartment. Flip it upside down. Boom, right there. So you gotta give I think this a little touch. There it is. Boom. I've never seen that before. It's kind of, I like that. All right, that's what we need. So I'm thinking this is how it's supposed to be done. I'm gonna double check before I actually go ahead and take the weight off of it, but I believe your tow hook sits right down into the threads in the head. And then I didn't use the chain. If it gets a little bit weird, I might adjust it. I've never done this before, supporting the engine from the top. But we're gonna go with this for now. We'll have kind of something up here. Again, I'm gonna use my transmission jack underneath the car to support the engine as well. So now we're gonna go ahead and get it up in the air and get to pulling the subframe and seeing all exactly what's damaged beyond kind of what we could tell. Before we get to that, make sure you go hit the subscribe button. That way you stay up to date with all the episodes coming on the 335. So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I think I'm gonna disconnect all the arms first from the subframe. So this front lower control arm here, I think I'm gonna take off like the sway bar and like maybe the power steering. Kind of get that out of the way. That way we can go ahead and get the support to support the engine before we drop the main bolts. Unfortunately, the main bolts are actually bent. Here, Andy, you probably see it right here. So you can see the main bolts are actually a little bit crooked. They're supposed to be straight down. So I'm hoping those don't give us a big issue. Whenever it comes time to actually take those out, those will probably be the last ones we take out. We're also going to pull these parts off too, which we covered this in last episode. If you missed that, go check that out. This is the power steering cooler and the coolant lines. These are the little things that took the impact that are in front of the subframe, and then it hit the subframe and bent that. So we're going to get to work. So right now we're taking off the sway bar because you can see the sway bar is actually hitting the tie rod. We did have the tie rod off and the other control arm, so we're gonna take the sway bar off. This stuff was kind of binded up, so it was kind of hard to like pull out because it had pressure on it. But once we get it all out, I think like the lower control arms are probably fine, but I do have new tie rods as well that will make sure that it drives straight. So we have everything ready for the subframe to come out. Now we're just gonna go support it from, I think we're gonna do the oil pan underneath the car. We have 6 bolts total, the subframe bolts. We're gonna go for the bent ones first and see if we can even get those out. And once those are out, the motor is supported from up top, as you just saw, and then we're gonna be from underneath. And we'll do kind of a quick little swap of the subframes to kind of make sure the motor is good. The power steering rack, we are gonna go ahead, it is still in, except it's unbolted. So we're gonna go ahead and pull it out. Whenever the subframe is out, we're gonna pull it out and we're gonna fish it out. So it's still, the lines are still on it, but it shouldn't be a big deal. So we're gonna go ahead and support it and get after it. Oh, yeah, it's coming around Yeah, a little bit bent. That's amazing. Yeah, it's bent. So we got the hard ones out. Now I think we're gonna pull the other two out. Let's pull the other two out, and we're gonna have to, like Tyler, you might have to hold this side up just a hair, and then we're gonna have to have maybe Andy will come in and take the rack and have to kind of finagle it back and forth to get that out.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
Alright, so maybe the power steering rack.
There you go. That's what you need. Right. Subframe come down.
Okay, remember how that went in? Wow. How you just finessed. Is that how you held it?
Yeah. Right. Power steering.
Don't. Here, Tyler, I'll kind of hold this.
Yep. Alright.
Well, it's got something on it.
Yeah.
Whew. So right now I'm on my way to actually pick up some fluid for the 335. We got everything in last night. One of the parts that was actually broken was the power steering cooler and the lines going with that. I got a used one off eBay just because they're really inexpensive. However, it was a little bit different than what came on the car. I think I'm gonna go actually buy some inexpensive fluid because I ordered in some fancy liquid moly stuff and a new filter for the transmission. I'm gonna buy some cheap stuff and some oil. That way we can have fresh oil in the car and then have some fresh transmission fluid, and then once I know that there's no leaks due to the new parts, I'll go ahead and change the transmission filter and fluid yet again, and she'll be ready to rock. So the other night we got the subframe all finished up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to a few other little accessories I got in. One being the power steering cooler I was talking about, and the other one being this 4-way water line. I think I'm actually able to disconnect it right at that little clip there, and this part goes to the power steering cooler, and then where it broke off continues to go all the way up to like the heater core, but it's just right up there. I do have this piece right here. This is what it's supposed to look like if it didn't hit a curb, and it actually bolts to the subframe on the top here and here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in along with, so this power steering cooler is not exactly the same as the other one. You see the plastic fitting on this one versus the one that came out of the car, which has these nice metal quick release fittings. Here's the one that came out of the car. It's leaking over here. The ends are the same, I believe. So I'm hoping this plastic one fits. There are O-rings inside, so I'm hoping that it doesn't leak, but that is why I got the cheaper transmission fluid at first to make sure this doesn't leak, along with this fresh new line. I actually had to replace this whole hard line, goes back to the transmission. I'm gonna go ahead and get to work on this. Also gonna pull off some of this intercooler stuff, that way I can get to installing the new one that I have laying over there. I'm gonna tidy those things up. Also gonna install the new tie rods I have for it, which are over here in this box of goodies. I got new tie rod boots. We got new tie rod inner and outer. I think maybe they're just whole one assembly. I got these off FCP Euro for a pretty good deal, so I'm gonna go and throw these in. That way we can especially see if the caster is fixed, because before it was too far back. And now it should be straight. I just got the new water line in, actually went in pretty easily. I do need to still mock up the old power steering cooler. However, the water line is plugged in on the thermostat, and then the heater core line is tucked up nicely in here. And then I gotta go up above and plug it into the bottom of the reservoir. Still clearing out some of this intercooler stuff. There are two fittings for the water, one here and then one here, so the water runs through it. Then the transmission fluid also runs through it and gets cooled by the water, and there's little fins on the inside to cool the transmission fluid down. One other little upgrade or replacement that I'm doing, because it is broken, is the power steering pump pulley. This one is actually aluminum. I got it on eBay for about 45-50 bucks. So nice little upgrade with a fresh serpentine belt. So I'm actually gonna go and put this pulley on while I'm under here, and it's really easy to accessible. This is the old pulley. Yeah, this is what the old one looked like. It definitely got hit by the curb. So that's going in the trash, and the fresh one's going on. So we got everything hooked up, the transmission cooler, all the coolant lines. We got the serpentine belt on. And now it's time to go ahead and put the intercooler in. I was gonna make that a separate video. However, since this car was in a wreck, a lot of the mounting points are kind of messed up. So we're gonna have to kind of just make it work and do it a little bit custom. So it's an ARM intercooler. It adds about like 20 to 35 wheel horsepower is what they claim to. I ended up getting the gold one just to have a little bit of something to the front end. But once we get the intercooler in, we're gonna kind of finagle with it and see if we can get it in and fit nicely. It's still gonna need some adjustment. Once we get that in, all we gotta do is put transmission fluid in. I think she'll be ready to start. Alrighty, time for the start. We got everything put back together. I'm hoping it doesn't leak. We got some fresh transmission fluid in it. Fob works, so that's good. Ready for this crap? The back one?
Dude, it's making some nice noises back here.
We don't know what oil level it is because the electronic dipstick is not reading it. So we're just gonna change it. Then we'll know for sure. But it sounds good. Now it is time for the maiden voyage of the 335. I got most of it put back together. I'm missing like the radiator fan because I'm having some fitment issues with the power steering cooler underneath. The intercooler, we got that in as of last night. I do have a couple parts on order for the intercooler. As far as like the new piping goes, they sent me the wrong ones or something kind of odd with it. If you look in here, you can see the piping right here is a little bit crooked and there's a bit of a kink in it, which obviously isn't the most ideal, but we're just gonna test drive it, not even on the main road, just on our side road here. I just want to get behind the wheel of this thing and feel it out and see how it does. But other than that fan, everything else is pretty much bolted up pretty well. It's not 100% perfect because it is. I still need to get a few things in, but I want to drive this thing. It does fire up. We know that for a fact, and it does go into gear. So without further ado, let's take it on the road. Fob does work, which is cool. Just kind of eyeballed the toe with the new tie rod, so it's not going to be perfect, but it should be able to get us on the road. It up. Oh, like a dream. Let's pop it in reverse. Everything looks good. We got gas. We got a Christmas tree of lights. I need to scan this code and see what that is, but obviously we got 1,000 other lights. Reverse. Oh man, we are. Ooh, it's doing a little something here. Kind of jerking a little bit. Gotta love the auto life. I'll check the oil one more time. I totally forgot to change it. Oh, that's not it. Oil, there it is. Turn this. Checking, it's thinking. See what we got. Nothing. Okay, we're gonna make this quick. Reverse. I think, oh, that wheel's definitely bent in the back. Yeah, that rear wheel might be bent. That's what Nick said last night. He said it looked kind of bent to him. Oh, this is sweet. Oh, we're off. Oh, she shifts like a dream. All right, so a lot of those lights just went away, which is good. It's shifting all right. That's promising. Hey, my eyeball alignment wasn't too off. Downshift, that's smooth. This thing is fresh. I'm liking this thing already, shoot. It smells kind of funny. Is that this thing? I am digging it. Everything's checking out. Like nothing's too weird. We got an airbag light, or 2 of them. Smells okay. All right, I'm gonna get on a little bit. Woo, that blow off valve. All right, let's see what she's got. All right, the trans is not, maybe needs some time to warm up. That might have been too much for it. Yeah, that'll we pop the coupler. All right, let's do one more lap. This thing is sweet. Are we leaking anything? I don't think so, which is promising. Looking around, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think the intercooler is still on. The new piping for the intercooler will definitely help that because it's kind of jank how it's set up right now. I was just gonna give you a little tease of the turbo noise. Hold on. Lock them up in the front. So I want to show you guys this subframe. This is the old one we took out of the car. You can see that this front piece is actually just tilted down, which essentially shifted all these points back about maybe half an inch or an inch, which that's what threw everything off. I believe the way it's designed is actually for the welds to break, and that's what happened. So everything got shifted. The bolts actually got bent as well. We got new bolts, everything is back in the car. We're about to throw this old subframe in the dumpster. I'm still waiting on some intercooler piping, the correct ones. And then I'm actually gonna have to fabricate a bracket to make this intercooler sit a little bit higher, since the plastic part is actually broken that supports the radiator and intercooler. So I can actually push this up, and I'll need to go ahead and make a little bracket, which I'll do that probably next video. Well, the 335 actually moves under its own power. That's really exciting. Now I'm waiting for a few parts. The intercooler, piping, and a couple other things are on its way. They're a little bit back ordered, so that'll be next episode. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that when it comes out. Also, don't forget, go hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.